everyone, and welcome back to the Campus Conversation. First, if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now so you won't miss our weekly discussion. Next, let's dive straight into today's hot topic. We are discussing smoking on university campus area. Should it be banned entirely, or should the campus provide designated area? Joining me today is our guest speaker, Yurian Haifa Nurputri. Would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers before we start?
Not at all. Thank you for having me today, Talita. It is a pleasure to be here on your channel. Before I start, I want to say an apology if my opinion offends anyone in the audience, but I have very strong feelings about the issue.
That is completely fine. This is a safe space for open discussion. To begin our discussion, let me ask you a direct question. Why do some students argue that smoking should be allowed on campus? What is their main reasoning?
Well, if we look at the other side, smokers often argue that smoking is a matter of personal choice and freedom. They believe they have rights to relieve stress between difficult classes. They also argue that the money spent on cigarettes is their own. So, they feel the university administration shouldn't control their private habits. Some students even say that information about designated smoking zones proves that consistent between smokers and non-smokers is possible if managed correctly.
That is indeed a fair point about personal freedom and adult choice. However, you clearly disagree with that stance. Why do you think smoking should not be allowed on campus? Could you please explain your stand further?
Honestly, the negative impacts heavily outweigh any argument about personal freedom. Since I started studying here 1.5 years ago, I have read many news articles, including an official publication from Gadjah Mada University, which state that secondhand smoke makes nearly people sick. According to their medical data, sisa asap rokok yang baru dimatikan itu mengandung bahan pemicu kanker 3 kali lipat lebih tinggi di udara. This means smoking is no longer just a personal choice when it actively harms the health of innocent people around you. Furthermore, it creates heavy environmental pollution and leaves disgusting stress like cigarettes, butts all over our green spaces.
Wow, there's times higher. That is very alarming status. Since you mentioned health and environment, let's talk more about the direct impact of smoking on students and our academic environment.
The impact on the academic atmosphere is devastating. People who breathe in secondhand smoke can develop severe asthma and dangerous respiratory infections. In an academic environment, we need clean air and deep focus to study properly. In fact, a study published by Cambridge University Press saw a clear causal link between strict smoke-free campus policies and better GPA or academic outcomes for students. When students are healthy and not distracted by smoke, they perform better. Then, think about the financial impact. Buying cigarettes costs a lot of money that could be spent on textbooks or healthy food. Finally, smoking sets a terrible example for a higher education institution that promotes science, logic, and health.
I completely see your point now. The data really support your argument to solve this issue. What do you suggest the university management do moving forward?
To protect everyone's health, the campus should implement a 100% smoke-free policy without any exceptions. listen to the medical data. A famous study in the Journal of American College Health proved that total campus bans successfully cut student smoking rates by half. Never compromise on student health for the sake of bad habits.
Well said, Yurin Haifa. Thank you for sharing your valuable insight today. That was powerful argument. Finally, we are at the end of our episode. Comment below on your YouTube video to let us know your thoughts. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Hello listener, welcome back to the academic age. First, let's dive right into today's critical topics. The importance of English proficiency for university students. We have invited an education analyst to join us today. Welcome to the show. Could you briefly introduce the core issue we are discussing today?
Thank you for having me. Mastering English is no longer just a hobby, it is an academic necessity. When students enter higher education, they step into a global academic community. According to David Crystal, in his foundational book, English as a Global Language, over 18% of the world academic journals are published in English.
That is massive amounts of information. So, if a student only reads in their native language, they are missing out on a lot of global research.
Exactly. Take a look at applied science and economics. For example, if students are researching niches, innovative topics like digital platform for agriculture, supply chains, or mathematical optimization for sustainable manufacturing, they will quickly realize that the most reputable articles are written in English. To access this high-level knowledge, you need strong English skills.
That makes perfect sense. Would you mind elaborating on how this connects to their future careers?
Overall, next we must consider the corporate world. Research published by Cecil Neely in the Harvard Business Review highlights that multinational companies are increasingly adopting English as their official corporate language to maintain global competitiveness. Therefore, graduates who are fluent in English have a distinct advantage in the job market.
I apologize for interrupting, but I want to clarify a point. Does this mean that even local companies value English proficiency?
Yes, absolutely. Before you apply for any major role, local or international, you will notice that English is often a screening requirement. The business model that companies use today rely heavily on international partnership.
Let's move on to the technological aspect. Could you explain the role of English in global communication and technology?
Certainly, then we'll look at the internet and digital platform. According to data from W3 Tech, English is the primary language used by over 50% of all websites. The software, coding language, and digital tools that drive our modern economy are primarily developed in English.
So, what should students do right now?
Listen closely to this advice. To build a strong foundation for your future, you must integrate English into your daily life. Finally, my suggestion is to start reading academic journals in your specific field of study today. We have seen clear evidence that bilingual professionals outdo their peers.
That is brilliant conclusions. Thank you for sharing this evidence-based insight with us. To summarize our discussion, learning English is essential for academic survival, career advancement, and technological fluency.
Thank you, it was my pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye bye.